Excuse the noise, but I am currently printing a blanking cover for my PS2. Just another one of these that I've modified slightly, and I've also modified the ventilated cover as well, just to centralize those slots, because that was bothering me. And the reason I've gotten back into making those bezels is because I have modified the MediaSense adapter for the PS2 proprietary floppy interface to work with 1.2 meg high density 5.25 inch floppy drives. And I'll give you a demonstration of that now. Just in OS2 Warp 3, and it is mandatory for the 5.25 inch drive to be the B drive. If you put it in the A position, well, on the Bermuda that I tested it on anyway, it just turns off the floppy interface. So it must be in the B position. I would assume that's because the reference discs and whatnot were always on 3.5 inch floppy disks, so it doesn't want you having the 5.25 inch drive as the A drive. And on the Slimline 9576 case, it only has a 2-head floppy cable, and that second position is actually for the tape drive, not for a second floppy drive. I learnt that the hard way. So I just used my self-made 3-head tall case cable, and I got it working on that as well. I don't know that I've actually got anything saved on this disc at the moment. No, I don't. But yeah, it's working perfectly on high density discs as well as double density. Just go ahead and format that, because it is detecting it as a 1.2 meg drive. Of course, you can use an unmodified MediaSense adapter, but it's going to assume it's a 1.4 meg drive. You will still be able to read and write to the 1.2 meg discs, but you'll never be able to format it if it thinks it's a 1.44 meg drive. So this overcomes that issue. It is correctly detected as a 1.2 meg drive. I will show you what that looks like. And there's no errors whatsoever. So it was a successful and very easy modification if you've already got one of those MediaSense adapters that you can get off PCBWay and modify yourself. Now, I have been liaising with the creator of that project. He is going to modify it now and add dip switches so you can easily select between 1.44 and 1.2 meg drives. Now, one word of warning, I did try the 2.88 meg mode, and unfortunately that does not work. Yes, it detects it as a 2.88 meg drive when you're using like a GoTech, but it doesn't work. It just gets like read errors constantly, and it can't read already created images either. So it's kind of useless in 2.88 mode, and really who cares? Everything comes on 1.44 images anyway, so that's the main point of that adapter. I just like to have a 5.25 inch drive as well. And just to show that it works with double density 360K discs as well. I'll go ahead and format that as well. Now, if you're not aware, 5.25 inch drives do not have any kind of media sensing abilities. When it comes to formatting the disc, you need to tell it that it's a 360K disc. I believe the floppy controller determines that it's a 360K disc when it tries to read it as 1.2 meg, fails, and then it falls back to 360K. So that's how it actually works when reading. But yeah, the drive itself, I don't believe it has any clue. And even with this, you'll hear it back and forthing a few times trying to work out what it is. It didn't do it this time, but yeah, eventually it then switches to double density mode. It didn't do it in OS2, but it does that in DOS. So yeah, it's absolutely perfect. And it's only a 40 track disc when it's 360K. And yes, the double stepping does work correctly, so the floppy controller is doing that correctly. And there you go, a PS2 has formatted a 360K disc on a generic Panasonic floppy drive. And yes, it works with the beloved TIAC FD55 GFR as well. I just chose to put the Panasonic in there because the beige more closely matches the PS2 beige. I will paint these covers. I'm just printing more accurate ones now. And I'm going to go and get color matched paint from the car paint store, and I'll probably do that today because why not? Now, one thing I have not checked yet is whether you can actually change the boot priority to boot from a 360K disc. So that might be a possibility for playing 360K booter games like King's Quest 1, although that was also available on 720K 3.5-inch discs. Let's see if it's actually possible to boot from a 360K disc. Just go into the reference mode. As this is a 77S, it is saved on a secret convenience partition on ID number 6. Now, to change the boot order, it is under set features. And this has an annoying thing. You can only change this so many times and then it locks it, and then you've got to unlock it and restart the machine and go back in again. It hasn't done it this time, but let's have a look. Next. Holy crap. Yes. I can boot from that. Well, I think I'm going to create a King's Quest 1 disc on my clone PC. IMD does not work with PS2 floppy controllers. It does not work, or WinIMA does not work with PS2 floppy controllers. I think it might be using a different IRQ or something. It just does not work. So I've got to use my clone machine to create disk images using that software. Okay, so there's something wrong with the way I've created that disk, or it's not the bootable version. I shall try and boot up in MS-DOS and run it from that disk and see what happens. So this appears to be a non-bootable version. I don't even know if this is going to work. Please insert your original. The hell, does it know that it's not the original? So I haven't created the disk in a convincing fashion to get over its copy protection. That's what it is. Bugger. Well, there you go. It works, but I haven't created the disk image correctly. Perhaps I need to format and write instead of just writing. Maybe I will try that. Anyway, it looks like that King's Quest 360K disk image is not a standard format because my clone computer, the application crashes every time I try to format and write the image. I believe there's a TSR you can run to allow non-standard formats to be written, but that's out of the scope of this video. So anyway, the point is the 5.25-inch drive is working perfectly. My next task will be today to get color matched paint and paint my new bezels that I am currently printing. This bottom one will have the grills more equally centered. You'll notice that those slots are actually narrower than the original. That's just an effect of 3D printing, because in the drawing they're actually identical sized, but when you 3D print it, they end up smaller. I don't know, is that shrinkage? I don't really care. It'll be good enough. And I have the original cover to put there anyway. That was just a drawing challenge to make that. So I can just put the original cover back at the bottom, and the freshly painted, slightly modified upper one for a CD-ROM drive, that will be going in there today. I have thinned out that lower section to match the upper section as well, so it's not going to be asymmetrical like it is currently. But yeah, it's all working. That's what I've been up to.